So when we look over the 700 plus weapons in Pixel Gun 3D, we have noob weapons and we have pro weapons. Noob weapons are very familiar amongst all of us. They're weapons that are OP. Maybe they have massive area damage, and they're so easy to use, even the biggest idiot in the entire world knows how to use them. On the other hand, we have pro weapons as well. Pro weapons are weapons that are very difficult to use, weapons that take a lot of practice to become good with, but once you learn how to use them, they actually can be pretty consistent. They're weapons that only the talented players in Pixel Gun 3D can use and use well, and a pro is someone who can win a match using them. In today's video, I wanted to give you all 10 of what I would consider are some of the most pro weapons in Pixel Gun 3D, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy. Make sure to leave a like if you do enjoy this video. It did take a lot of time because it took a lot of practice getting the gameplay with these weapons. They are very, very difficult to use. Subscribe for more Pixel Gun 3D content coming out very soon, and after you watch this video, check out my top 10 noob weapons in Pixel Gun 3D video that I did a few months ago that I'll link down below in the description. Anyways, with that being said, my friends, let's jump into this. So starting off in the number 10 position, I think the 10th most pro weapon in Pixel Gun 3D is the Electromagnetic Cannon. Now you might be a little surprised because, this weapon doesn't necessarily look like a pro weapon, but hear me out. This weapon is generally going to be a couple of shots to kill, and it has absolutely no area damage at all. When you shoot this weapon, it doesn't instantly go all the way across the map. It has bullet travel time, so you have to guess where you think the enemy is going to be at and then shoot in advance before the enemy gets there. All of that combined makes this weapon very, very difficult to use in medium to long range, and if somebody can use this weapon well in those ranges, they are truly a Pixel Gun 3D pro. This weapon has no crazy special abilities either. It has chain damage, but it doesn't do a whole lot, and all of that combined makes this a very pro weapon. Continuing on, in the number 9th position, we actually have a whole host of weapons that can all be summed up in the 9th position. They would be all of the backup weapons that don't have any crazy special abilities, don't have that burning ability, area damage, maybe laser or through wall abilities. They're just those pure, raw backup weapons that you need to get headshots when using. I'm talking weapons like the Zombie Slayer, the Desert Eagle, the Red Twins even. Weapons that stress that you need to be accurate when using them, and you need to get those headshots if you want to land a kill. Other backup weapons don't need that. Either they're completely OP, or maybe they have area damage. But with weapons like the Zombie Slayer, you need to get those headshots if you want to do well. And a pro knows how to get those headshots, and they will do well with any of these weapons. Continuing on, moving up the list in the number 8th position, we gotta talk about my boy, the Tactical Bow. Alright, the Tactical Bow is an insanely difficult weapon to use. At one point in time, it was actually kind of OP, and I think it might have even been a one-shot headshot, but it's far from that nowadays. And this weapon, alongside the Electromagnetic Cannon, is one of those weapons that you need pure raw skill when using. This weapon technically doesn't have any bullet travel time, but you really feel like it does, because there are so many times the crosshair is directly on the head of an enemy player, and it doesn't count as a hit marker. It's like this weapon has the smallest radius in the entire world, and you need to have it perfectly aligned on the enemy player in order for it to count as a shot. And all of that combined makes it one of the most difficult weapons to use in this entire game. If you can actually play with this thing at level 65 and win a match with it, I will have massive respect for you. Shoot me a tweet at Twitter with your screenshots of your best matches with the Tactical Bow, and the people that can get over 30 kills with it, they're gonna get a special shout out from me. Moving up the list, in the number 7th position, we gotta talk about the Law Enforcer. This is one of my favorite weapons in all of Pixel Gun 3D. It is such a satisfying weapon to use. Each and every shot sounds so crisp, but on the flip side, it's not that powerful. You need to get headshots with this weapon if you want to do well, and since it's a sniper rifle with no special abilities, you can't rely on that area damage, you can't rely on the shooting through wall ability, you can't even use this thing to see enemies through walls like you would do with the third eye. You need pure, raw skill, and on top of that, it doesn't even have a scope, so you really need to make that crosshair aim directly on the enemy's head in order to get that shot to land, and it's very difficult to use. All of that combined makes this a very, very hard weapon to use that only the pros in Pixel Gun 3D can do well with. In the number 6th position, we have, again, a whole host of weapons that could fall into this position. I want to give a massive shout out to all of those primary weapons that don't have crazy special abilities, aren't miniguns, and are just assault rifles. That's it, assault rifles. I'm talking about things like maybe the Marksman, or the AK-48, or other weapons similar to that, like the Brave Patriot, or the Eindringling. All weapons that, again, stress that you need to get those headshots. They're not shotguns, they're not a one-shot headshot to kill. They take a lot of shots, but if you can use them, if they're maxed upgraded to level 65, and you can get consistent headshots with them, you're going to do well. You can't rely on the burning effect. You can't rely on the poison effect. You just need to rely on your skill. And pro weapons like this embody what a pro player should be like in Pixel Gun 3D. In the number 5th position, just like we talked about in the 6th place position, we have all of the sniper rifles in Pixel Gun 3D that you also need to get those headshots with. I'm talking weapons like the Gauss Cannon, which is my personal favorite, or the Bone Sniper Rifle, or the Elephant Hunter. Snipers that, again, don't have area damage, don't have other crazy abilities, and you need to get those headshots. You need to use your scope, maybe even quick scope some enemy players with them, and you need to be accurate when using them. Something like the Bone Sniper Rifle embodies what a pro sniper should be like in Pixel Gun 3D, and pros will know that, and they'll use that, and they'll do well with that. In the number 4 position, here's something that you never would have seen coming, but it is so unbelievably difficult to use, you have to be considered a pro when you use this thing if you can manage to do well with it, okay? I suck with this thing. It's the Hippo. You can see I'm not very good with this weapon. This weapon is unbelievably difficult to use in Pixel Gun 3D because it has no area damage. It has this really weird firing animation type thing that feels so sluggish when you're using it. At one time, it was actually pretty powerful, but afterwards, after a few updates after it got released, it really got nerfed heavily, and it takes so many shots to kill, and that on top of it being so sluggish is just a perfect recipe for a terrible weapon in Pixel Gun 3D. And only the pros will know how to use this weapon well, and only they will be able to actually win matches when using it. In the 3rd position, the 3rd most pro weapon in Pixel Gun 3D, in my opinion, is the Love Spell. Now, you might be very confused about this one, and I don't blame you. I mean, it's literally a book that shoots out hearts. Ew, cooties, am I right? Sorry. Let's continue. Basically, the Love Spell is very similar to a lot of the other weapons that I talked about earlier on in this video. Maybe something like the Hippo and the Electromagnetic Cannon, where you have a bullet travel time. So it doesn't instantly hit an enemy player, and you have to guess where you think that person is going to be later on down the line, a few seconds into the future. And it's many shots to kill an enemy player. It's very underpowered, and only pros are going to be able to use the Love Spell and do well with it. It is a very, very difficult weapon to use. In the number 2 position, we have the Tactical Tomahawk. And very similar to the ones I mentioned earlier, just like the Love Spell, this also has a travel time. It's not going to instantly fly across the map and hit anybody the second you have your crosshair on them. No, you have to guess where you think the player is, and this one has an exceptionally slow firing rate. Not quite as slow as something like the Ghost Lantern, but we look at the Ghost Lantern, and that's on the polar opposite end of what a pro weapon should be. The Tactical Tomahawk has no special abilities. It is a pure, raw, travel time weapon that takes quite a few shots to kill, and if you can do it right, you can do well with it. This is a true pro weapon in Pixel Gun 3D. And at the very end of it all, What I think is the #1 most pro weapon in Pixel Gun 3D is the charge rifle. The charge rifle embodies a pro weapon. This weapon requires you to hold down the firing button when you're using it as a sniper, and then the second you let go, a powerful laser comes out and will one-shot headshot anybody if you have this thing max upgraded. That's what a sniper rifle should do. It should have a very slow firing rate, but if you do manage to get the headshot, it should be a one-shot kill. This thing is not a one-shot body shot, so you need to be accurate and aim for the head always, something that a noob would not necessarily be able to do very consistently, and only something a pro would be able to do on a consistent basis. I absolutely love the charge rifle, and if you don't have this weapon, I would highly recommend getting it. To be quite frank, I would recommend any of the weapons that I mentioned in this video, because if you can use any of these weapons, and you can do well with them, you can consider yourself a Pixel Gun 3D pro, or at least closer to a pro than you were previously, because you can use a very difficult weapon, and you can do well with it, and that is something a pro can do. And with that being said, that basically wraps up today's video. I have nothing else I could possibly say, and I hope you all did enjoy. Make sure to leave a like if you guys did and you stayed this far in this video, and if you have other weapons that you would consider pro weapons, what are they? Let me know down below in the comments. I'm curious on hearing what you guys have to say. If you haven't checked out my top 10 noob weapons in Pixel Gun 3D video yet, I would highly recommend doing that. It'll be linked down below in the description, so you can click on that and see the complete polar opposite to the weapons that I talked about in this video. And yeah, we're out of time. That is it. Make sure to leave a like, as I said again, subscribe, and I'll see you all later.